mean, your work with General Atomics on the collaborative combat aircraft is a huge game changer that actually I think eventually feeds into the next generation air dominance concept, right? And so my question for you is, how is CCA going for you all? We had a chance to briefly catch up this past week at the Air and Space Force Association. Could you share with the audience here how that's going and what is the long-term vision as it relates to the expansion of CCA into something that advances the Anduril footprint?
Yeah, I think we've been pretty public about this. It's going very well. We've had multiple design reviews with the Air Force, and yeah, we're on a good path. I think a big part of that was that the Air Force kept the requirements really loose on that and allowed industry to inform the trade space, and so that gave us an ability to find that sweet spot in the capability set of speed, range, all that stuff. So it's going really well, and right now we're hoping that the Air Force will buy a lot of them, and we'll see what the number is for increment 1. If we win that, and then increment 2 there's still a lot of work on increment 2, but we do think even the CCA that we have today can be used for a lot of different things. There's a lot of different applications, and the Air Force is increasingly, the people who do like ops analysis, the people who look at mission plans, they look at what they have and they're like, holy cow, we run out of stuff really quick, and we don't want to send these things forward because we don't really have a lot of good protection on them. So when you start to look at all the variables, CCA becomes attractive for a lot of different things. And so we hope that with that software first mentality, the ability to quickly update it with different features and new functionality, and the fact that it is at a price point that is fairly attractive to achieve some very high impact effects, let's just say, that's going to become increasingly appealing for different things. So I would say it's going pretty well right now. We'll see where the Air Force goes. But.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so just to continue on with the CCA program, we talked a little bit about this in the first panel. When I was running the private equity venture capital component within DIU, the only 4-letter word that we had was requirements, right? If you actually come in and you have General Happeblap, not to pick on anybody who's a general officer, but General Happeblap comes and says he has a requirement for X, Y, or Z, that presupposes that that general has a complete understanding of what's technologically available, which there's no way possible that guy does or lady does, right? There are stealth companies out in the Valley and other places across the world that are doing things that are mind-blowing and game-changing in solutions to priority problems that the DoD has. And so with that lead-in, if in the next phase of CCA, the government came to you and says, we're going to get away from requirements, we're going to get up to objectives of success, how much more do you feel that Anduril would be able to do given that context and that construct versus a requirements-driven approach?
Well, I think that's always a better place to be. And honestly, the primes, I think the primes want it too. So it's really not just us. They've complained and pushed back on requirements their whole history. So I think the thing is, it's not just about the company. Like, companies benefit from it because they can optimize for what they're best positioned to provide. So if you really have like some incredible radar, program in your thing, and you have a good price point on that radar, and you can put that on a platform at a really low price point, you're going to be better poised to provide that than somebody else who doesn't have any, and they just have to go to a subcontractor or something. So where I think it's not so much about the company, but the government benefits when they do that, because they need to have a clear defense or design reference mission. They need to have some clear objectives for it, but it allows them to get all kinds of novel approaches from different companies, and then do the analysis to say which of this is going to be most effective for the defense reference mission that was given, and maybe for some other mission sets, kill chains that they know they need to satisfy. And they can do that assessment. And I think that's just a better way to move into the future than trying to lock down super firm requirements and be stuck in that, because those things do change. ConOps are changing. We've seen it right with the Navy with USVs, right? They historically have not done a lot with USVs. Now they're going to integrate this year. They're going to integrate USVs into the fleet in the Pacific. So they're going to have to go through a whole new ConOps. The Air Force is going through a whole new ConOps with CCA. I suspect if we ever do have to go to war again against a near peer, that we will have ConOps will change dramatically. And so locking anything down today too much there's some boundaries you need to put, but yeah, it's not good for the companies, but it's also not good for the government.
Understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.